I need to tell you something. Something that happened to me. And if you stick with me through this, you'll understand why I stopped answering my phone. I was making tea when I saw it. Tuesday morning, 9:47 a.m. I remember because I glanced at the microwave clock while waiting for the water to boil. My cousin Emma had posted a photo on Instagram, just a casual shot of me standing on my condo's balcony overlooking the city. The October light was golden that day. I'd forgotten she was even taking it, the caption read. "So proud of my girl. Look at what she built. I didn't know it yet, but that photo was a bomb." I took a sip of tea. The apartment was quiet. It was always quiet now. Just me, the expensive coffee maker I'd bought myself, the view I'd saved for 5 years to afford. I scrolled past Emma's post without much thought. I had a meeting at 10:30. I had a life. I had peace. 23 minutes later, my phone rang, not a text, not an email, a call. From a number I hadn't heard from in 14 years, my father. I stared at the screen for so long the call went to voicemail. Then it rang again. And again. I didn't answer. But I listened to the message he left. "Sweetheart, it's Dad. Your cousin sent me a photo and... Wow, your place looks incredible, really incredible. I'm actually in town next month for business. Well, I'll be driving through, really, and I was thinking maybe we could grab lunch or coffee. It's been too long, too long. Call me back, okay? I love you." Love you, 2 years of silence. 2,190 days. And then, I love you, my hands were shaking. I set the phone down and walked to the window. From the 32nd floor, the city looked small, manageable. Everything was manageable from up here. That's what I'd learned. Distance changes perspective. I didn't call him back that day. Let me tell you who I was before the photo, before the phone call, before everything unraveled. My name is Sarah Mitchell. I'm 32 years old. I work as a financial analyst for a real estate development company. Been there 7 years, promoted twice, took out no debt for my education because I couldn't afford it. I have a degree in business administration from a state school I paid for with night shifts at a pharmacy. I have a studio condo in the financial district that I bought 3 years ago at the bottom of the market, refinanced twice, and now own with 18% equity. I have 2 friends, real friends, not the kind you keep on social media, and I have a therapist I see every other Thursday. I have a lot of things. What I didn't have was a father, not for 14 years. When I was 18, my parents divorced. It wasn't dramatic or public. My mom got the house. My dad got a fresh start, as he called it. He moved to California to find himself. His exact words. He married a woman named Patricia 3 years later. They had twins. He built a life that, from what I gathered through Facebook stalking in my 20s, looked very clean and very full. He called me for 3 years after the divorce. Less and less. Birthday cards stopped coming. Then the calls became texts. Then the texts became silence. By the time I turned 21, I'd accepted the math. He had a new family. I didn't fit into that equation, so I built my own life. No rage about it. No dramatic tears in the diary. I just moved forward. I studied hard. I worked hard. I made decisions based on what I could control, and I didn't wait for anyone to show up. The day my father was supposed to call and didn't, my 25th birthday, I stopped expecting him to. That's who I was. A woman who understood the logic of abandonment. So when he called that Tuesday, something in my chest cracked a little, just a hairline fracture, barely visible. I didn't call back that day or the next. But on Thursday, I did something stupid. I looked at his Facebook profile. He'd changed his background photo to a family portrait. Him, Patricia, the twins, who were now teenagers, I realized with a strange jolt, all smiling at the beach somewhere tropical. He was thinner than I remembered. His hair had gone white. He looked happy. There were thousands of photos, hiking trips, graduations, Christmas mornings, a whole archive of a life I wasn't in. At the bottom of one album, I found a photo of me. Just one. It was from my high school graduation. I was 17 in a blue cap and gown, forced smile, looking away from the camera. The caption read, "Proud dad moment, smiling face with smiling eyes," posted in 2010, 8 years of no updates after that. I closed the app and called my mom. "Dad call you?" I asked. "Hi to you too," she said. She was in the middle of something. I could hear the TV in the background. My mom spent her retirement watching true crime documentaries and maintaining the garden my dad had never helped with. "Hi, Mom. Did he call?" "Your father? Not recently, no. Why?" "He called me on Tuesday." There was a pause, a real one, the kind that comes before honesty. "What did he want?" she asked carefully. "I haven't called him back." "Sarah, My mom had a way of saying my name that made it sound like a warning. What did he want? He said he was driving through in October. Wanted to grab lunch. Another pause. He must have seen the photo, she said quietly. What photo? Emma posted something on Instagram, your place. You look so happy in it, honey, really happy. I saw it this morning. My mom said this like she was reporting a crime she'd witnessed, because maybe she understood something I didn't yet. Maybe she'd been waiting for this. Maybe she knew that good things, when they're visible, attract attention, and sometimes the attention is dangerous. Not calling him back, I said. Sarah, he's your father. Exactly. And he made a choice 14 years ago. I made a choice too. I chose to be okay with it. My mom didn't argue. She never did. That was their thing. They didn't fight. They just existed on opposite sides of a very clean, very sad divorce. And I was supposed to exist in the space between them, pretending the distance didn't mean anything. He called again on Friday. I let it go to voicemail. Saturday, another call, another message. Just checking in, sweetheart. Really would love to see you. Really love to reconnect. The word reconnect bothered me. You can't reconnect something that was never connected in the first place. You can only pretend to rebuild what was always broken. By Sunday, I realized something was wrong with the timeline. I looked at his Facebook again. He'd said he was in town next month for business. But today was September 22nd. October was only 9 days away, and he was already calling, already reaching out, already asking to see me. That's not how someone acts when they're casually driving through. That's how someone acts when they're planning something. Monday morning, I did something I'd never done before. I called my cousin Emma. Hey, I said, forcing brightness into my voice. Thanks for the post, it was really sweet. Oh my God, I'm so glad. Emma was the kind of person who lived her best life online and in person simultaneously. It was exhausting just knowing her. Your condo is literally goals. I couldn't resist. Did you send the photo to anyone else? What? No, just posted it. Why? Just curious. Wait, did someone see it and try to rob you? Oh my God, that would be so on brand for 2024. No, nothing like that. My dad just called me, said he saw it. The line went quiet. Oh, Emma said, the brightness left her voice. He called you. Yeah, why? Did he contact you? Okay, so this is awkward. But 2 hours after I posted, I got a Facebook message from your Aunt Michelle, your dad's sister. She was asking if I could send her the photo in better quality because your dad wanted it. I thought it was just a cute family thing, so I did. I'm sorry, I didn't think. It's fine, I said, but it wasn't fine. Did he say why? No, Michelle just said he wanted to see how you were doing. Sarah, is this weird? This feels weird. I got off the phone after that. Made an excuse. Told her I'd call her back. I didn't call her back. Instead, I sat on my bed and did something that would, in retrospect, be the moment everything changed. I opened my laptop and created a new email address. No personal information, no recovery email, just something clean and anonymous. Then I created a new phone number using a VoIP service. Then I opened the Notes app on that phone and I wrote down a single, does he really want? On Wednesday, I called him back. Sweetheart, his voice came through the speaker like he was genuinely shocked I'd answered. I didn't think you would. Hi, Dad, I said. My voice sounded distant even to me, clinical. You wanted to get together? Yes, absolutely. I'm going to be in town the 3rd week of October. I was thinking maybe Tuesday. There's this great Italian place in the financial district. How did you get my number? I asked. Another pause. Your Aunt Michelle gave it to me. Did she not ask you first? No, she didn't, but that's okay. I'm curious about the lunch. I could hear him shifting, nervous or just adjusting his phone. Well, he said, I just thought it would be good to see you. You've done so well, Sarah. Your cousin mentioned that you own your place. That's incredible. I'm really proud of you. Words should have made me happy. That's what's so insidious about them. They're designed to make you feel seen, to make you believe that someone cares, to make you lower your guard. But I'd spent 14 years with my guard up. It doesn't lower just because someone finally notices you. Thanks, Dad, I said. I've been working hard. Can tell, and your mom, she's doing okay? She's fine. That's good, that's really good. He was talking like we did this regularly, like there wasn't a 14-year gap, like words could just fill that space and make it disappear. So Tuesday the 15th, around noon. Sure, I said. Let's do that. After we hung up, I sat in the dark for a while. Just me and my computer and the burning feeling that I just set something in motion that couldn't be stopped. The next 2.5 weeks were the strangest of my life. On the surface, nothing changed. I went to work. I made presentations to development boards. I went to therapy on Thursday. I didn't mention my father to Dr. Chen, which was probably a mistake, and I went to the gym and I bought groceries and I lived my life exactly as I always had. But underneath, I was watching. I created a fake LinkedIn profile and connected with him. I looked at his work history. He was a senior consultant for a pharmaceutical company, apparently. Good money. Very good money. I found his company website and looked at his bio. Strategic Business Solutions Specialist. Vague, corporate. The kind of job that pays well and means nothing. I looked at every public photo of him with Patricia. No wedding ring in any of them, which I noted. I looked at his check-ins. He was in California like he'd always been, not driving anywhere, not coming to my city for business. He was lying about the business trip. The question was, why? My best friend Marcus noticed something was off. We got lunch on the Saturday before the meeting, at a place we'd been going to for 6 years, a small Thai restaurant where the owner knew our order before we sat down. Weird, he said, dipping his spring roll into sauce. Not weird. You're weird. You keep checking your phone and then, closing your messages without reading them. Not. Sarah, you literally just did it. I put the phone down. Marcus had a way of cutting through my bullshit that most people never managed. We'd met in college in a statistics class where he'd asked to borrow a pencil and then somehow never left my life. He was a therapist, licensed, professional, the opposite of judgmental, and he had an annoying ability to see through facades. My dad called me, I said. Your actual biological father? Yes. The one who... Yes, that one. Marcus set down his food. Okay, what did he want? He wants to have lunch, next week. And nothing. He wants to have lunch. Sarah, I've known you for 12 years and I've never heard you mention your dad. Ever, not once. So if he's suddenly calling you, there's a reason. What's the reason? I should have told him. I should have said. He saw a photo of my condo online and suddenly I'm important enough to call. But I didn't. Because something in my gut was telling me to keep this quiet. Something was telling me that this situation was going to be a lot more complicated than a lunch. He just wants to reconnect, I said. Marcus looked at me for a long time. Then he said, be careful, okay? People don't usually come back after 14 years for no reason. He said it like a warning, like he knew something I didn't. And maybe he did. Maybe he could see the shape of what was coming. October 15th arrived like any other Tuesday. I dressed carefully. Not too nice. I didn't want to seem like I was trying, but nice enough to show that my life was together. I wore a cream-colored blazer and black trousers and the kind of shoes that cost more than I used to spend on groceries. I put my hair in a low ponytail. I did my makeup in that effortless way that takes 20 minutes to perfect. I was a woman trying to prove something to a man who'd proven nothing to her. The restaurant was busy. Lunch crowd. I arrived at 11:55 a.m. and sat at a table by the window. The server brought water. I checked my phone. 12:02 p.m. He was late. At 12:15 he walked in. He was smaller than I remembered. Not just older that I'd expected, but physically smaller, like the years had compressed him. He had the same face, though. I could see myself in it, the shape of his jaw, the way his eyes crinkled at the corners when he smiled. He smiled when he saw me. It was genuine. I could tell because his whole body relaxed, like he'd been holding tension since he got off the plane. Sarah, he said, and he reached out like he was going to hug me. I didn't stand up. I stayed seated and offered my hand. Awkward, formal, exactly what I intended. He sat down across from me. You look just like your mother, he said. Has anyone told you that? Everyone tells me that. It's a compliment. She is beautiful. I didn't respond to that. I picked up the menu. I'm so glad we're doing this, he said. I can't tell you how much I wanted to see you. When your cousin sent me that photo, I realized how much time has passed. 14 years, I said. Yeah, too long, way too long. The server came by. We ordered. He got the same thing he always used to get, spaghetti with white sauce and shrimp. I got something different, something he wouldn't remember me ordering. While we waited, he told me about California, about Patricia and the twins, about his job, about a vacation they took to Bali last year. He was trying to fill the space with words, trying to make the 14 years disappear with anecdotes. I let him talk. I asked follow-up questions. I was polite. I was distant. I was a stranger being kind to another stranger. Then, halfway through his story about his daughter's soccer tournament, he stopped. Sarah, I want to be honest with you, he said. My stomach dropped. Okay, I said. The business trip thing. I wasn't entirely truthful. I'm not actually driving through for work. I came to see you specifically. Okay, I said again. Patricia and we've been going through a rough patch, financial rough patch, and I've been thinking a lot lately about my life, about my choices, about you. And when I saw that photo of your place, I had to come. I had to see you and make things right. Words were so perfectly crafted that I almost believed they were spontaneous, almost. What kind of financial rough patch? I asked. Just some investments that didn't pan out, nothing serious. But it got me thinking about legacy, about making sure my kids, my older kids, all of you are taken care of. And I realized I haven't been there for you, at all, and I want to fix that. He reached across the table and tried to take my hand. I moved it away to grab my water glass. That's nice, Dad, I said. I'm glad you're thinking about me. I mean it, and that's actually something I wanted to talk to you about. Your place, it sounds like you're doing really well. You're financially stable. The question landed differently now. It had weight. It had intention. I'm comfortable, I said. Why? Just wondering. Times are getting harder, and I thought maybe we could talk about, I don't know, supporting the family, all of us. There it was. Not I want to know you, not I want to be your father, but I want money. I understood, in that moment, exactly why he had called. I didn't react. That was the thing I'd learned at work, handling difficult clients and difficult situations. You don't react immediately. You listen. You clarify. You get the whole picture before you move. Supporting the family how? I asked. Well, Patricia's medical bills have been adding up, and the kids need college savings. It's a lot. And I was thinking, with your success, maybe you could help shoulder some of that burden, just short term, just until I get back on my feet. Short term. That word was a lie. How much are we talking about? I asked. I don't know, maybe 20, 30,000. He said it casually, like he was asking to borrow $20 or $30. I put down my fork. I need to think about it, I said. Of course. I don't need an answer right now. I just wanted you to know that I'm here and I'm thinking about you, and this is important to me. We finished lunch in uncomfortable silence. When the bill came, I paid for it. I always knew I would, and I watched him not offer to pay, watched him let me do it. When we left, he hugged me. This time I let him, and he smelled like my childhood, like the same cologne he'd worn 20 years ago, and it made something inside me crack a little more. But not enough to give him money. Not enough to ever trust him again. That night, I sat at my kitchen table with my laptop, and I made a decision. I was going to keep the email address and the phone number and the fake profiles. I was going to stop being a person who reacted to life and start being a person who controlled it. I was going to find out what he really wanted. Because $20,000 to $30,000 was never the real number. That was the opening ask. The one designed to seem reasonable so that when he came back with a bigger number, it wouldn't seem quite as outrageous. I'd seen it happen in business 1,000 times. You make the first ask low. You establish the relationship. Then you go for the real amount. And I realized, with the clarity that comes from betrayal, that my father had been planning this for weeks. The question was, had he planned it alone? I took a day off work. I told my boss I had a doctor's appointment, which was technically true if you counted therapy appointments. Instead of going to therapy, I sat in my apartment and I made calls. The first call was to the bank. I asked for a statement of my accounts over the past 6 months, looked for any unusual activity, found nothing. Good. That meant he didn't have access to my account information. The second call was to my mom. Has your father asked you for money? I asked. A pause, a very long pause. Sarah, has he? He called me last week. After you had lunch, he asked if I could lend him $50,000. He said it was an emergency. I told him no. My heart actually stopped for a second. $50,000. I didn't know he was going to ask you too. If I'd known, I would have. You did the right thing, I said. Can you text me that call, like your phone records showing he called? Why? What's going on? I'll explain soon, I said. Just, can you do that? After we hung up, I sat with the information. He had called my mom the day after lunch with me, after lunch where I said I'd think about it. So his backup plan was to ask my mom. This wasn't about reconnecting. This wasn't about legacy. This was a coordinated campaign. The question was, who else had he contacted? I called my Aunt Michelle, the one who had given him my number. Hey, I said, keeping my voice light. Emma mentioned you reached out to Dad about a photo. Oh, yes. He was so eager to see how you were doing. I thought it was sweet. Did he ask you for money? There was a very telling silence. How much? I asked. He wondered if I could help with a family emergency. He didn't specify an amount. And did you? I told him I'd think about it. So my father had contacted. My mother asked for $50,000. My aunt mentioned a family emergency, amount to be determined. My cousin asked her to send photos and presumably set up the meeting with me, and me asked for $20,000 to $30,000. The total was somewhere north of $80,000. But what he had actually walked away with, that was zero. Because he'd underestimated us. He'd assumed that because he was family, because he was our father, because he had biological leverage, we would give him money. He didn't understand that some bridges, once burned, can't be rebuilt. He didn't understand that betrayal comes with an expiration date. I called Marcus. I need your help, I said. Sarah, I need a therapist's perspective on something, professionally. Like, can we meet? I have information and I want to know if I'm overreacting. We met at a coffee shop near his office. I showed him everything. The emails, the timeline, the different amounts he'd asked different people for, the Facebook messages with my aunt, the call logs my mom had sent. Marcus read through everything very carefully. Then he looked at me. This is coordinated, he said. I know. This is textbook financial exploitation of family members. The fact that he asked different people for different amounts and approached multiple people at the same time suggests he planned this. How do I prove it? I asked. Do you want to prove it legally? I want to know what he's doing with the money first. Marcus leaned back. Sarah, you're thinking like a lawyer. What are you actually going to do with this information? I didn't answer, because I didn't know yet, but I knew I was going to do something. The next 2 weeks were about intelligence gathering. I downloaded an app that recorded phone calls, legal in my state if one party knows about it. I called my father from the anonymous number, pretending to be a business associate from his company. He fell for it. He immediately started talking about needing money, about Patricia's medical situation, about his son needing college funds, about how certain people in his life were financially stable and would want to help. I got him to say, on recording, that he was asking family members for money, that he was targeting people he knew would be sympathetic, that he was tracking how much each person would give. It was damning, but it wasn't enough. Because recorded without permission, on a call he believed was legitimate business, it wouldn't hold up, and it didn't prove anything except that he wanted money, which he'd already told me. I needed more. I created a fake profile on LinkedIn, a man named Robert Chen who worked for a pharmaceutical company that could potentially do business with my father's firm. I sent him a connection request. He accepted it in less than an hour. Then I sent him a message. Hey, I think we have mutual contacts. Patricia L. I heard she might be looking for work. His response came back within minutes. Patricia is my wife, yes. She's dealing with some health issues right now, but might be open to consulting opportunities. Why do you ask? So Patricia was his wife, not just his girlfriend. So Patricia had health issues that required money. So he was willing to pimp out his wife to a stranger on the internet for potential income. That last part made me actually angry in a way the rest hadn't. But I stayed calm. I hired a lawyer. Not for legal action, not yet, but for advice. I sat in her office on a Friday afternoon and I laid out everything I'd discovered. Her name was Jennifer Park, and she had the kind of face that had seen a lot of human behavior and wasn't surprised by any of it. "This is elder fraud adjacent," she said. "He's using emotional manipulation to extract money from family members. Whether that's illegal depends on several factors, but it's certainly unethical. And if he's specifically targeting vulnerable people, like an elderly parent or someone with money management issues, it could escalate to actual fraud." "How would I prove the intent?" I asked. "You'd need him to explicitly state that his goal is to deceive someone into giving him money. Or you'd need financial documents showing a pattern of predatory behavior. What if he gets people to give him money based on false pretenses? Like, he says his wife is dying, but she's not actually that sick." "That would be fraud. Do you have evidence of that?" "Not yet." "Then you need to get it." I paid her retainer, $3,000. Money I could afford, but money I felt very consciously spending. That was the moment I fully committed to this. That was the moment I stopped being someone who just reacted to betrayal and became someone who systematized it. I found out, through careful research on health insurance forums and Patricia's Instagram profile, that Patricia's health issue was a chronic pain condition. Not fatal, manageable, but requiring ongoing care and medication. My father was using his wife's legitimate suffering as a tool to extract money from his family. That was the piece that made me certain I was doing the right thing. I called him on his registered cell phone. "Dad, it's Sarah," I said. "I've been thinking about your request." And his voice immediately became hopeful. "I'm going to help you," I said. "I want to do a family meeting, all of us. You, me, Mom, my aunt. I think we should all pool resources and create an actual plan for helping Patricia and the twins." "Oh, Sarah, that's amazing. That's so generous. But we need to do this transparently. We need documentation, medical bills, a real assessment of what Patricia needs. Otherwise, it's just random money disappearing." There was silence on the other end. "That's wise," he said finally. "Very wise. I can send you everything." "Great. How about we set up a video call next Saturday? You can walk us through exactly what Patricia needs and what the actual costs are." "Sure, yes, that works." After we hung up, I smiled. Because he'd just agreed to provide documentation of his lies. He sent me the documents the next day. Patricia's medical bills, insurance statements, college fund estimates, all of it carefully organized, all of it designed to look legitimate. Except I called Patricia's insurance company, pretending to be a family member, and asked about her coverage. Found out that her condition was covered at 90%. Found out that the bills he was showing me were inflated by approximately 40%. I called the college where his son had applied and asked about the actual tuition costs. They were $15,000 less than what he'd quoted. Every number was wrong. Not catastrophically. He wasn't trying to scam people for millions, but wrong enough to suggest he was either deeply delusional about his actual costs or intentionally inflating them. I suspected the latter. The Saturday video call arrived, like a bomb on the calendar. I set up a video conference with my mom, my aunt, and my father. I recorded it. Everything. His face, his words, his justifications. He started by thanking us for agreeing to help. Then he walked through the expenses. Patricia's medical costs, about $8,000 a month. His son's college fund. We need about $50,000 for the first year. His daughter's tuition and living costs, another $45,000 for the year. His own medical insurance, $1,500 a month. The total, roughly $190,000 per year. And his ask, if we could each contribute our share based on our financial means, that would be incredibly helpful. My mom asked the obvious question, "Robert, didn't you say Patricia's insurance covered most of her care?" His face changed, just slightly, but I saw it. "It does, but there are out-of-pocket costs that add up," he said. "What out-of-pocket costs?" my aunt asked. "Various things, medications that aren't covered, specialist visits." How much? I asked. Actual number. He looked at the camera, looked right at me. Probably around $2,000 a month, he said. 2,000, not 8,000. And the college costs? I asked. Tuition is about 35,000 per year for both kids combined. Much less than he'd written. So your actual need is not $190,000, I said. It's closer to 80,000 per year. Sarah, I don't think. And you've been asking different family members for different amounts. You asked me for 30,000. You asked Mom for 50,000. You asked Aunt Michelle for an unspecified amount. If we all gave what you asked, you'd receive more than $130,000 from us alone, not counting what you might ask from other family members. The silence that followed was the most honest communication we'd had in 14 years. You're right, he said finally. I panicked. When I saw your success, I panicked and I didn't think through the actual numbers. I just wanted help. That's not true, I said. You thought through the numbers carefully. You just thought through them wrong on purpose. My mom left the call after that. My aunt made an excuse about needing to go. My father stayed on camera, just me and him. The first real conversation we'd had since I was 18 years old. I'm sorry, he said. For what? For asking for money, for the way I did it, for coming back into your life like this. You're not sorry, I said. You're sorry you got caught. Maybe, probably, but I am sorry about leaving. I'm sorry about the 14 years. You don't get to apologize for that, I said. You don't get to disappear and then reappear and say sorry like it fixes anything. You were my father and you chose not to be. That's something you did, not something that happened to you, something you chose. I should have felt angry saying this, righteous, powerful. Instead, I just felt tired. I know, he said. Do you? No, probably not, but I'm trying. We sat in silence for a moment. Then I told him, I've documented everything. The phone calls, the inflated expenses, the fact that you targeted multiple family members with different amounts. My lawyer says it's fraud. Not criminal fraud, probably, but fraud. And if you contact any of us again asking for money, I'm going to file a formal complaint. Sarah, we're done, I said. This is the last time we talk. I want you to understand that clearly. You had a chance. You came back, and you proved that the reason you left wasn't about you needing to find yourself. It was because you're someone who takes, and I don't have room for takers in my life anymore. I ended the call before he could respond. The aftermath was quieter than I expected. He didn't call back, didn't send emails, didn't try to contact me through anyone else. I think he understood, finally, that I meant what I said. My mom called me the next day. Thank you, she said. For what? For protecting us, for not giving him the money, for seeing what he was doing and stopping it. I wish I could have protected us from 14 years ago, I said. So do I, my mom said. But you can't change that. You can only change what comes next. I went to therapy and talked to Dr. Chen about the whole thing, about the anger, about the hurt that had never fully gone away, about the way that hurt had made me vulnerable and the way I'd channeled that vulnerability into clarity. What are you going to do now? She asked. I'm going to live my life, I said. The one I built for myself, the one that doesn't include him. That sounds healthy, she said. It sounds lonely, I said. It might be for a while, but it's honest. 2 months later, I got a letter. It came to my office, no return address, unfamiliar handwriting. Inside was a check for $5,000 and a note on personal stationery. Sarah, I'm not going to ask you to forgive me. I don't deserve that. But I want you to know that your refusal to give me money was the best thing anyone's done for me in years. It made me realize what I'd become. I'm going to therapy. Patricia and I are working through things. The kids don't know how close we came to a real crisis. You protected this family by being strong enough to say no to me. That took courage. I hope someday you can see that you inherited that courage from me. If not, I understand. Dad. I held the check for a long time. Then I shredded it. Because it didn't matter if he had an epiphany. It didn't matter if he was in therapy. What mattered was that he had tried to exploit me, and I had stopped him. What mattered was that I had built something for myself that couldn't be taken away. That was my revenge, in the end. Not public humiliation. Not legal action. Not anger or rage or dramatic confrontation. Just the quiet certainty that I was okay, that I didn't need him, that his absence had taught me how to be strong in ways his presence never could have. He was the one who had to live with the fact that his daughter had outmaneuvered him. He was the one who had to know that when push came to shove, she was smarter. He was the one who had to understand that some relationships can't be rebuilt with money or words or sudden declarations of love. Some doors once closed stay closed forever. And sometimes that's not a tragedy. Sometimes that's just what survival looks like. Final thought. I kept the lawyer, kept my anonymous email address, kept my guard up. But I did something else too. I took the money I would have given him, and I started a scholarship fund for kids in low-income families. I funded it anonymously, $50,000 in the first year alone. Because if my father was going to teach me anything, it was going to be about the difference between people who take and people who give. And I was going to be a giver. Even when, especially when, no one was watching. That's what it means to win. Not destroying your enemy, but becoming someone better than they could have ever been. Someone they could have been proud of. If they'd been capable of pride. If they'd had the courage to stay.